It's getting in the way.
It's a berm, it's a berm.
Next on Python Hunters.
Night.
Burmese pythons have invaded the Everglades.
They're a problem, and there's more and more of them.
And to find out how they got here, the Python Hunters get up close and personal.
More snakes than I've ever seen.
They're spreading out because there's too many in one area, so now we're seeing them around people's homes here.
Don't let him go to the water.
Oh, she already started the musk.
Spewing all over the place.
He just tested the wider. Nice try, little buddy.
Burmese pythons have invaded Florida. To eradicate them, the state's issued 15 special permits to snake experts. And these men got permits numbers 1, 2, and 3. Biologist Sean Heflick has been chasing, studying, and breeding reptiles his entire life.
I've never been afraid of snakes.
Exotic reptile breeder and cop, Greg Graziani, knows his pythons inside and out.
I got my first Burmese python when I was 12 years old.
Python breeding pro Michael Cole has sold his designer color mutations for as much as $25,000.
I've learned about reptiles the hard way. I didn't go to school for it. It was a passion.
Now, these snake breeders are defending the Everglades. They are the Python Hunters.
Yeah, people think when you say island that it's a nice cleared out space that you can maneuver in. I don't think they really catch the grasp of these tree islands out here.
Oh, well, they're thinking palm tree, margarita.
I'm thinking palm trees and margaritas, but I'm not finding it.
Hey, I got a python!
What?
Ow! Whoa! You hear me?
Yeah, I'm coming.
I got him by his tail.
Keep talking to me.
Right here.
What's the quickest way to you?
He is
Where you
hot.
at? Keep
He's
talking.
not happy. Here.
Keep talking to me.
Right here.
Wait. Oh, there he is.
I told you I was kidding. Look in his eye.
Watch.
He just tested the wider.
Yeah.
Came across that thing and it bolted, just trying to get away. And I laid my hands on it, and when it realized it couldn't get away, came back at me trying to defend itself, and a little too close for comfort. Nice try, little buddy. His teardrop comes up over his eye.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's real strange. I mean, his right side is normal, no pigmentation.
This is a Burmese python. It's originally from the jungles of Southeast Asia. But since its accidental introduction here in the Florida Everglades, it's reproducing at a fantastic rate. This top predator's appetite can threaten the fragile balance of the Everglades. This vast subtropical wetland is only a few meters at its deepest, but it's also home to hundreds of species, including 40 listed as endangered. The berm thrives here because its tan background with brown splotches and black outlines allows it to blend seamlessly into the habitat. And it needs to. They are opportunistic carnivores that lay in wait for their prey.
Let me get a ground temp, because that's the only thing we need, a ground temp and a GPS.
Head temp first.
Okay. Head temp is right at 80, and the ground temp is at 66.8.
The temperature of the python and its surroundings are key pieces of data for understanding this cold-blooded animal's needs and habits.
Weird little snake. I came out through here. He was heading this way out of the sun. So I may have just spooked him out of that sun.
9.
Mosquitoes are good in here. Yeah, I got no bags either. I haven't restocked.
I got bags. I don't know if I hit myself in the eye coming through there or what. Maybe I burst a blood vessel trying to get through that
You saw how close he came to grabbing me in the testicles. The one before that, when I laid my hands on his tail and I yelled, I was kind of half distracted because I was calling y'all.
Right.
And I turned around, there's a gaping mouth like 3 inches.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, 3 inches from the goods.
Got the temps
Let's get him out.
in here. I got bags, you got bags?
Yeah, he thought it was a snake.
No, I didn't think it was a snake. I knew you were hitting me.
Yeah, but I got evidence. I saved you. That was a malaria carrier mosquito. I saved your life.
We got a long airboat ride home.
The Burmese python isn't only a threat to the balance of the Everglades. Rightly or wrongly, it's also seen as a public safety issue.
I know there's huge hysteria because these are snakes. The fear that they've invoked in people is devastating.
I don't have a snake. I don't want a snake for a pet.
I don't like any particular snakes, to be honest with you, especially ones that are bigger than myself.
The state of Florida has become the unwelcome home to dozens of foreign animals that can pose a threat to the Everglades. From the fire ant, to the cane toad, to the green iguana. But of those, the Burmese python is perceived as enemy number 1. Official estimates range from 3,000 up to 100,000 Burmese pythons breeding in the wild. No wild Burmese python has ever attacked a human. But South Florida residents remain unconvinced the giant reptiles are docile.
They're getting closer and closer to residential areas, and to me, that's alarming. When the rats and the rabbits run out, it's going to be small dogs and hopefully not a child.
Burmese pythons frighten the suburbs of Miami and create potential havoc in the Everglades. Some blame irresponsible pet owners for releasing these snakes and creating both the problem in the city and the python explosion in the Everglades. The search is on to discover the truth. A snake is best studied if it's captured alive, and the best way to do that is to capture them by hand, if you're experienced enough to know what you're doing.
Depending on how big the snake is or what kind of brush you're in, you can lead the snake around by its tail. This is where they evacuate. This is where they release their musk.
That's a snake's other defensive weapon, a highly odorous cocktail of musk, urine, and feces.
It is not fast enough to get back and get a hold of my feet and my legs. If it bit my shoe, big deal. I've got boots on. Get down. You can literally just hang onto the tail, watch it where it's looking, and then get it behind the head. Once you've got control of those 2 spots, you don't get bit and you don't get musked on. That's the way I catch a snake.
That may be how he catches a snake for a demonstration, but Michael hasn't caught a snake in the wild this hunting season. He's determined to change that, and soon.
Here's a few things that we keep in the bag when we go out hunting. The one thing we definitely need are snake bags. Whenever we capture a snake, we gotta have something to put it in. So we keep plenty of these, multiple different sizes in here for different size snakes. Every time we capture a snake, we like to get a ground temperature, also a body temperature on the snake. This is an infrared temp gun, so we can go ahead and shoot the snake and get the temps for those measurements. We obviously have to get a measurement on the animal, so we keep a soft measuring tape so that we can get that. This is probably one of the most impressive things everybody sees. This is not what we use to euthanize snakes. This is actually to help get through a lot of the thick woods and things like that. This is a snake hook, and this is a collapsible hook that we can pack in the bag here. But we use this anytime we come across something venomous. We can use it to manipulate the animal. Mike, you got anything in your bag that I'm not carrying here that you need to show us?
Well, I used to carry exactly the same stuff as you guys, you and Sean. We've been traipsing out here for weeks and weeks and weeks, and every time we go out, we all have the same stuff in our backpacks, so I thought, make mine a little bit lighter. I don't carry anything in mine.
I see how you are, because I got about a 50-pound rucksack here, and so you're just pretty much depending on me.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
Smooth as silk.
The state of Florida has licensed these snake experts for one reason: to stop the pythons. But you can't solve a problem until you determine what started it. Their mission today is to discover how the pythons got here in the first place.
No one knows. My colleagues, the biologists, and the local media and the politicians, we don't have any idea what's really, truly going on in the environment.
Surprisingly, little is known about Burmese pythons in the wild. Theories on how they may impact the Everglades are educated guesses at best. Every python they catch provides much-needed data.
Bright day, sunny.
The hunters start at a site where pythons have been recently reported. They first check in with the dispatcher at the Florida Wildlife Commission.
This is Michael Cole, python hunter. Yes. Yes, we're gonna do a hunt this morning. Permits number 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Bright day, sunny. It's a good day. I think we'll do well today.
Spot temperature readings indicate the rocks are warm enough to attract basking snakes.
106.8, that is insane.
When hunting for cold-blooded animals, temperature readings are key. Burmese pythons need to use the sun to control their body heat.
A lot of little game trails through here. This is a perfect little haven.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Guys, I got a burr. Grab the hook. How was that great?
Hang on, let's get her away from the water. She's not happy. Oh, she already started to musk.
She get you?
Yeah, a little bit.
There we go. All right. Well, that's a good-looking snake. That is beautiful.
It is nice. This is this is a typical wild-caught specimen. A little thin.
Yeah, this is the size we're finding. This is the average size. I mean, we come across, you know, the 14-footers, maybe a little every once in a while. But what do you think? You guys want to take guesses on this? I'm saying 9.5.
I got 10-2.
Got her? Let me grab. Way to get your bag, get some measurements, GPS, all that fun stuff.
This was a good day for this. The goal of all this hunting is to collect data.
There you go.
The snake's size,
38, she's 98, total length.
GPS coordinates of its location,
0.52480.
its temperature,
74.4.
its general health. Every piece of data is a clue in understanding how the pythons live out here.
We need to find out what these animals are eating, where they're at, how big are they, how quickly are they reproducing.
He's about to get musked
Michael,
on. Look
Michael,
down.
a
Look.
little closer to your face. I can't get it in this thing.
This snake is going back to their state-licensed reptile facility.
Hang on, what is...
Captured Burmese pythons are either humanely euthanized or kept for further study.
I'm not sure if we can ever eradicate them without an act of God. I'm not sure that we can't, but we need to find out. Get another one.
One down. But the big question is, just how did thousands of Burmese pythons get in the Everglades in the first place?
Well,
There are two theories.
here's Miami.
The first is that in 1992, Hurricane Andrew wiped out a reptile storage facility, injecting hundreds of Burmese hatchlings into the Everglades.
We know that there's at least one facility that was present during the hurricane.
Yeah, and that was right here.
And we're talking about 900 plus Burmese pythons, none of which were recovered.
Yeah, well, they were babies. I know, being out there, that a baby Burmese python, 17 to 24 inches, everything eats them. Everything.
However, as babies, they can find cover easier than large animals.
It's been almost 20 years since Hurricane Andrew. Plenty of time for the pythons to breed out of control.
We're talking about, in a hurricane setting, the area was flattened.
And we're talking about an animal that has evolved in a geographic location where monsoons are commonplace.
Yeah.
probability doesn't have any logic to it.
In the wild, Burmese pythons can lay a clutch of 30 to 40 eggs every reproductive year. Even if 95% of the python hatchlings died, there would still be enough to worry about.
If 1 or 2 animals makes it per clutch, that's 27 to roughly 60 animals that survived in one location. That's not a bad insertion value.
The second theory behind their proliferation is pet release.
Florida City Homestead area is just full of reptile people. Dealers, keepers, eccentrics with lots of exotics. But we need to go out there and we need to find out.
It's South Florida farmers who often have a front row view of the extent of the python invasion.
I wonder if that bird realizes the danger it's in. That'd be a tasty morsel for a python.
The farm of Larry Dunnigan and his son Mark borders Everglades National Park. Squash and pole beans grow here a few months a year. The rest of the time, the fields are home to rats and rabbits. And it's only a few kilometers from the epicenter of the python explosion.
The snakes, that's where they go for dinner. In August, we start preparing the land for fall plantings. The telephone calls and the radio conversations came in that, boss, there's lots of snakes out here. More snakes than I've ever seen. We ran over 2 or 3 the year before, but never this number of snakes.
All through the day, they kept calling us, telling us, you know, here's another one and another one and another one.
And one day we ran over 11 the first day, 9 the second, and 3 the third. But believe it or not, you would think it would cut them into 12-inch sections. It doesn't. It doesn't. They're tough. They're tough.
Larry only started seeing the pythons after Hurricane Andrew changed Florida forever.
Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 massive hurricane, is one of the most horrific, horrendous storms we have seen in decades. Swept right across South Florida and literally decimated and flattened anything and everything that was in its path. One of the things that was in its path was at least one breeding facility and wholesaler that contained hundreds of Burmese pythons.
This was used as a reptile warehouse back in 1992, just prior to Hurricane Andrew.
Lieutenant Pat Reynolds is the Florida Fish and Wildlife officer who inspected that python facility just weeks before the storm.
As you can see, the flimsy nature of the plastic coated roof, the wind's blowing it. Inside this plastic warehouse of reptiles are these snakes stacked like this just prior to Hurricane Andrew. And when Hurricane Andrew came and took everybody by surprise, we had no idea this storm was going to come and get us or what magnitude it was going to be. These guys didn't even think about removing what they had in here. So what they found out when they came back, nothing was left. Not a pipe structure. Obviously, all this plastic blew off. 200-mile-an-hour winds just shredded that stuff. These things are all stacked. The wind comes and just throws them like frisbees out into the Everglades.
Lucky for the pythons that they landed in a subtropical climate with a lot of food, plenty of water, just a great all-around ecosystem and habitat for those pythons to survive.
You know, of course they're gonna get picked off by predators. Parasites might get some. But what's the chances out of thousands of animals that something might survive? I think it was pretty good.
It was a perfect storm for these pythons.
But while Lieutenant Reynolds remembers getting calls about a lot of exotic escapees in people's homes, the pythons were mysteriously absent.
Now remember getting together with the nuisance animal trapper and saying, when are we gonna see the snakes? Where will they show up? We never found any. We never got a call. We got together and shook our heads. We just couldn't believe it. around year 2000 or so, we started seeing pythons turn up in the Everglades National Park. And we said, could it be? That's a good possibility. It would have taken many years for some of these animals to get up to breeding size and to get enough of them around. And then all of a sudden, they're spreading out because there's too many in one area and they have to spread out in different directions. So now we're seeing them in the urbanized areas around people's homes here.
A few kilometers north of the area where the storage facility was destroyed, the swath of wild lands between the Everglades and the surrounding communities is prime hunting territory. Michael is still waiting to catch his first berm of the season.
And there's rats everywhere. That's about 6 I've jumped up already.
Find me one of the gutted python. Then we're talking.
I think I pretty much have to, don't I?
Yeah. No pressure, Michael. No
No
pressure.
pressure, no pressure.
Sean and I are very competitive. Right now, he holds the number for the most captures. I hold the number for the largest capture. You know, and we argue which one holds more weight.
And these three guys all want to be the first on any snake they see.
I mean, no pressure. Looks like something middle.
Corn snake.
Yeah? You got him?
Big one.
You lost
Barely
him?
got him, yeah. He's under this rock, though.
Hey, wait, I can get him right here.
Get him?
He's pretty deep.
He doesn't know we have a snake, does he?
No.
Can you see that, Greg?
Has he got a hole under there?
Yeah. Oh, here he comes.
What do you got?
There we go.
Hello, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good teamwork, man.
All right.
It's a small corn snake, a non-venomous native species. Adults can reach from 0.6 to almost 2 meters in length.
Actually, I think he's probably due for a shed. He's,
Getting ready to go in?
yeah, he's kind of dark. And
He's big for all the other ones I've seen
Yeah?
around here.
This animal here has really thick black bands.
Yeah.
I mean, usually that's just one scale, and you got like a scale and a half there. He's warm enough to be on the move today.
Tempt that rock. I'll bet it's over 80 degrees already.
84.9. Yep. That's your high-tech data collection instrument.
This works, man. I'm still old school.
Listen, you can't get the cop out of him. Look, he's got.
That's right.
Press hard, 5 copies.
But as the hunter who hasn't caught a python yet this season, it's Michael Cole who gets squeezed the most.
Why don't you go down that way, because I'm going to turn him loose here, and I don't want you screaming snake when he crawls up.
Sean and I have kind of been looking at him as the unlucky rabbit's foot at this point, and hopefully that'll change, especially for Michael's sake.
But you know, though, every python we've found has been heralded by an indigenous snake first.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
we're on the right track.
This is nice. There's a little shelf.
You know, Michael, I don't know, you know, he's a squirrely kind of dude. He could just pull it out in the end, but right now he's playing out of a hole, so we'll see.
Make sure you keep looking for sunny spots, because that's where they're going to be.
Yeah, no, there's lots of little patches of sun. As long as I can get through here, I'll get it.
Good luck.
There is no background of chasing Burmese pythons around the Everglades. We can't go back and read a book about how it was done in the 1950s because they weren't here in the 1950s. So we're making it up as we go along. Hopefully we'll keep moving forward and we'll keep catching snakes till they're all gone.
Guys, you got that untied?
What's
Make
that?
sure it's tied up. FWC just called. They've got a python in a dumpster. We need to go get it for them.
The hunters are on call anytime someone finds a large exotic reptile. The boa constrictor certainly qualifies.
He believes it's going to be a common boa. He says it may have been hit by a car. It's got some injuries to it, so we're going to have to check it out when he gets here.
The Florida wildlife officer was called in when a snake was spotted in an industrial park.
It's a common boa, and it was in one of the Dipsy dumpsters.
Right.
So he didn't fight or create any problems and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
like
not
your
a
typical-
horrible monster?
Not like a typical python. A little bit more aggressive, I have to admit.
You know, sometimes when we get called out to capture a loose python, sometimes it's in an urban setting very close to where the wild population is. As soon as we get our hands on that animal, we can tell whether it was an escape/release or a wild animal. Those wild animals, as soon as you put your hands on them, they try and defend themselves. They strike, they bite. The captive animals, you can pick them right up and normally put them in whatever container you need.
Actually looks like he's been chewed on a little bit.
But this actually went to the spine.
You can actually see vertebral column.
Yeah.
Wow.
This abandoned pet has none of the skills needed to survive in the outside world. Its injuries will probably prove fatal.
I mean, these really are spectacular animals. And, you know, it's disappointing to see one in this condition.
Yeah.
Are they from believed to be a wild population or some captive animals that were let loose, or what do you think?
We believe that it's captive animals that have been let loose. In
Okay.
this particular.
The hunters have found that released pet snakes discovered in urban areas seem to be more often victims than dangerous wild predators.
You guys got all the, you know what? Let's do this night hunt.
As the sun sets over the Everglades, cold-blooded snakes like to slither out onto the roadways to soak up the last bit of heat from the day. So this quiet, warm road near the Everglades should be an ideal place for the hunters to find pythons.
Snake! Where?
All right.
There it is. There it is. Get it. What? You got him? Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Nice banded water snake. Look at that pretty little animal. Look at that. Is he getting ready to musk you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Awesome little animal.
Look at that tongue action.
He's not bad.
Just lights off here.
He's healthy.
Hey, beauty. Hey, beauty. Look at that belly
Nice
color.
coloration on the belly there with the reddish-brown checkers. Nice banded pattern.
People mistake this animal for the Florida water moccasin or cottonmouth. And, you know, the juvenile cottonmouths have a banding pattern like this. But if you know your snakes, these things look nothing like a cottonmouth. The head is a lot smaller, no brow ridge. But, you know, thousands of these get killed every year because people think they're water moccasins, which is really unfortunate because these are great snakes.
South Florida is home to 4 venomous snakes: the water moccasin or cottonmouth, the coral snake, the pygmy rattlesnake, and the eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
Oh, yeah. This is the stuff.
You keep your musk tonight. You keep your own musk.
You boys are learning. Oh, yeah, this snake's 3 years old.
Yeah, all right, let's
get this one off the road.
He disappears.
All right, let's go get a python.
Let's go get some pythons.
But the hunters are here to catch invasive species, especially the Burmese python.
One down. Hey, that's good. Early in the hunt.
It is a big full moon tonight. I didn't expect to find anything. I've been told that full moons are a bad time to catch snakes.
Snake. Where? No, to the right.
Let's get in the wheat.
What do you got? Went in.
Get in there. Get in there.
It's a berm. Yeah. No, he's not huge, but it's a berm. They're moving. Driving, the lights are bobbling around, and I wasn't sure it was a snake. I saw a break in this white line along the road. You know, wasn't positive until the break in the white line disappeared, and then I knew we had a snake.
The ones that we're finding in the Everglades, 2 things happen when you come across them. They run, and we try to catch them, or they stand their ground and they bite. And when they do, it hurts.
This is a magnificent representation of one of these smaller Burmese pythons. What happened to calm, Snake Whisperer?
Well, as soon as she realized that was warm,
That was a defensive bite.
totally defensive. And she's real nervous right now. This animal is not aggressive, it's defensive at this point. This animal is trying to get away from the situation that it's in. Oh, yeah.
The typical adult size of berms in the Everglades is 3 meters for males, 4 meters plus for females.
We get this tape measure right here at exactly 54 inches.
This snake is just half that size.
I'll say he's warm, but he's been around your hand. Look at that, look at that.
Oh, he's
yeah,
like so
yeah,
close.
Yeah.
So close.
So close, wants a piece of you.
Come on, little girl. It's all right, girl. She's gonna take advantage,
look at
isn't she? So you got 2 rows on the outside and the top, 2 rows in the middle, and then 2 on the lower jaws. These have approximately 100 teeth inside this mouth, and they're all needle sharp.
And it's all covered by this flesh, real soft flesh that pulls back. And when that animal sinks those teeth in, those teeth are curved backwards so that nothing can get out of its mouth.
That's what they do. They're opportunistic. They sink their teeth into that prey item, and they hang on to it. That's leverage. Then they wrap the coils around it, and they suffocate their prey.
But she's got heat-sensing pits all around the upper lip. And when she senses that body heat, she can tell this is another animal.
They say that man has never invented anything. They have always taken from the natural world. And this is a prime example. Same temperature gun we just used to capture the temperature on the road, on the ground, and on her head to see what the differential was. That's an IR, infrared heat gun. That is the exact same mechanism that this animal uses.
The bigger the animal, the harder she'll strike. But the quicker she'll have spent all her energy.
You know what? I know we've all seen thousands of these animals.
They're just beautiful.
But how can you not just continue to look at them and not be just in awe?
Bring my kid out.
After a few minutes on the warm pavement, she rebuilds her strength and is ready to strike again.
These animals. All right, let's bag her.
You're trying, I know.
I didn't do that. Come on now, baby. Y'all blame me for all kinds of stuff. I was being nice. Well, you know, Greg got himself bit. I had nothing to do with all that.
Yeah.
Good catch. All
Good
right.
to see, man. I was looking at the shadow on the left.
Ooh, she put out a lot of musk.
And I can smell that musk from back here.
Yeah, right. Stop lying, Michael. That's you.
All right, y'all set, Mikey?
Let's get them.
All right.
All right, you're the eyes up top, man. Let's find them.
That's 1 snake each for Sean and Greg. But Michael's still looking for his first. Many people still believe that all wild pythons are either escaped or released pets. Pets like Sean's 4.5-meter berm.
He just keeps coming. He is a gentle giant, without a doubt. He looks impressive and he looks like he could put a hurting on you, but aggressive, not at all, not at all.
I got my first Burmese python from a lady I met. It got too big for her, and she gave it to me. And that's also a great story of how I met my wife.
Now, some politicians are looking at banning the trade in these exotic animals altogether.
What I have to believe is that in order for me to keep my Burmese pythons that I'm so passionate about, that we have to figure out how to keep these snakes that are in the wild from becoming a problem.
For exotic animal breeders, combating misinformation about pythons is a priority mission.
I think Burmese pythons originally came in the pet industry out of a machismo factor.
Burmese pythons found their way into American homes in large numbers back in the 1980s.
People thought, oh, you know, look at this, I can walk around these things on my neck in public and chicks are gonna dig it. I think it started in a different capacity than what it exists in right now.
Now, with advanced breeding methods, they come in a variety of color patterns. From 1996 to 2006, almost 100,000 Burmese pythons were legally imported into the U.S.
With a size of a Burmese that can get 20 feet also comes a lot of responsibility and, if you're not careful, a potential danger.
In the last 30 years, there have been 13 reported deaths caused by pet giant constrictors, all of them either their owners or members of the owner's family. To put that in perspective, during the same period, more than 700 Americans have been killed by dogs.
Just like, you know, raising up a puppy, you can do great things with them or you can do bad things with them. Oh, muscle.
Most captive Burmese pythons are gentle giants, but these 3 snake experts believe one thing: they're just too much pet for most people.
What happens is you buy this beautiful 18-inch baby Burmese python, you love it and it's a great pet and you handle it, and a year later it's 8 feet long and you handle a little bit less often. And a year later it's 12 feet long and you handle it hardly at all. And eventually it becomes an animal that costs you money and you're not enjoying it, so you're going to try to find another home for it or a zoo.
Or release it into the wild, as many believe pet owners have already done. That's why the python hunters are working to round them up before they destroy some of the Everglades' indigenous and endangered species. But Greg and Sean are taking a break from the marshes to conduct some python intel. It's Amnesty Day at the Miami Zoo. If there's one place to size up a pet release problem, it's here.
That's a nicer animal right there.
All pet Burmese pythons in Florida have to be registered with the state at the cost of an annual fee. On Amnesty Day, owners of pythons or other exotic animals can surrender their pets. No questions asked. It's one of Florida's ways of keeping these species out of the wild.
What we typically see in these amnesty days is that people just intermittently arrive with snakes, sometimes giant constrictors, Burmese pythons, retics. As they pour in, they'll register them in with FWC, and then, we'll take a look at them and see what we got.
It's not long before a snake arrives that proves how large and how quickly a python can grow.
They sell it to you, it's only about this big. And then you feed them, you take care of them, and it grows and grows and grows. It's about that big around. And we got a Chihuahua who's about this big around. So
not a good idea.
Yeah.
They're awesome animals. Even though I love the Burmese python, for one individual, they can't be too much of a snake.
We didn't have the room for him in the house we're in. It's an apartment. We have like 5 people living in it, and it was getting too crowded. They were getting big.
We're just securing this is a large albino patternless Burmese python.
The hunters note that of the 9 Burmese pythons turned over today, all but 1 are unusual colors. This raises an important question.
Why aren't the designer pythons, why aren't these color mutations represented in this wild population? I don't think we've found one.
After investigating both the pythons found in the wild and those found in the suburbs, the hunters believe there are 2 different explanations for how they got here.
The snakes that we're finding are mean and nasty. They're wild type. It's not lending itself to a whole lot of credibility that pet owners are releasing their pets.
Those random animals causing all the hysteria in the urban areas are likely pet releases and escapees.
Look at the Amnesty Day. What are we getting? We're getting albinos, we're getting green patternless albinos. The animals that are escaping in suburbia with all of the human activity and all of the malice in general, against snakes, right. The snakes don't make it out.
People don't like them, so when snakes come across people, snakes get killed.
The other reason for their spreading can be linked back to the reptile storage facility hit by Hurricane Andrew in 1992. It sent almost 1,000 hatchlings into the Everglades.
Remote area, plenty of time, plenty of food, kind of like a slam dunk.
A genetic study of the animals in the Everglades shows they're closely related. Sean finds that many of his fellow biologists are convinced once they see the data.
A lot of the people that started off as, oh yeah, it's pet trade, it's pet industry, it's them releasing their pets wantonly into the wild, have now, when faced with this new data, they get it. They understand that it all points to Hurricane Andrew.
We still need to get rid of the snakes. They don't belong there. I mean, I don't think anybody argues that.
For some, like farmer Larry Dunnigan, it can't happen fast enough.
We're all in the same predicament with the pythons. They're a problem, and there's more and more of them. They are prolific, and we're seeing more and more of them every year.
Larry's workers crunched a record number of the giant snakes this season.
We're not used to snakes. We're afraid of snakes. They didn't know what they were. They knew it was strange to have that many, but there wasn't nothing they could do. They ran over them. But see, a python could easily hide out here. They kind of, in my terms, give me the willies.
The red shoulder hawk just took off the road with a snake in his talons.
Now, it's time for the hunters to use the knowledge they've gained to help them find the Burmese pythons.
Colored underbelly, too. That's a good-sized snake. That could be a baby Burmese python. Shoulder hawk.
As they watch the food chain in the wild firsthand, they're able to separate fact from myth.
Look at that. The red-shouldered hawks, the ospreys, they're feeding on these baby Burmese pythons. That's just free food.
The hunters say that it's a media myth that pythons have no natural predators.
I've heard it said over and over again on the news.
No
Burmese
natural
pythons
predators.
have no natural predators.
Yeah,
So
okay.
How do you explain that?
Well, that's because the individuals saying that don't know what they're talking about. They don't know anything about Burmese pythons, and they know very little about these ecosystems, these habitats, and how the whole predatory prey system works out here. I have problems with authority. Always have. You know, I don't think I'm going to change. And I think my biggest issue comes from people that don't know what they're talking about.
The birds. Huh? What about the birds? It's been up there.
They know the Everglades are full of dangers for Burmese pythons and python hunters.
The alligators that are out there, the crocodiles that are out there, the Burmese pythons that are out there.
I know we've got, black bears, we've got hogs, we've got Florida panthers, but there's a lot of people that probably say, I don't want to run into that. I hope we don't find a panther.
I'm a little bit intimidated by that creature. Absolutely.
Licensed by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission as python hunters, the guys know that FWC officers face more dangerous threats.
Hey guys, we're gonna check out this memorial here.
Gotcha.
This monument honors 2 officers killed in the line of duty.
People come and go, wow, now you're dealing with crocodiles and venomous snakes and large constrictors. Isn't that more dangerous than law enforcement? And no, people are more dangerous.
Yeah, this has got to be one of the most dangerous jobs out here. I mean, every time one of these officers approaches somebody, 90% of the people they approach are armed because they're either hunters or poachers out here. So, I mean, a really, really dangerous job. And geographically, they don't have backup. One guy could be covering 4 or 5 counties.
I respect the heck out of them. Not a job I'd ever want.
Let's go catch some snakes.
Yeah, let's lend a hand, see what we can do.
The hunt for the Burmese python continues.
Snake!
Wow, that's a good find, man. Gorgeous. That is awesome.
That is the prettiest brooks I've ever seen. My God, are you serious?
And we're in a pile of thorns. I didn't even realize it. I grabbed. Oh, you realized
it? No BS. This is the nicest captive or wild-caught looking brooks I've ever seen.
As a kid, this was the ultimate find in South Florida when I was capturing, snakes down here.
I have not seen one of these in the wild in
That is
7 years.
incredible. And the funny thing is, we're both bloody. Has nothing to do with the snakes.
Yeah, right.
The terrain here is worse than the animal. Main food item for this snake right here are other snakes. Hatchling Burmese pythons don't stand a chance against this. And the larger pythons don't feed on snakes, so he is not in danger by any of the larger pythons.
So the baby Burmese pythons could actually help this species.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt them. No doubt this is not a species that's gonna be hurt by the Burmese python.
Let me tell you something.
For sure.
Burmese python babies, it's what's for dinner.
That's right.
For these. We're gonna just let him go and let him find his own way
I don't know
here.
exactly where he was
Not
going.
in my pocket there, buddy.
We have to
Unreal.
come back and check on him someday.
All right, look, we know they're up. We know they're sunning. They gotta be pythons out here.
Let's get some pythons.
You saw the snake, you realized that was a Brooks King, and you froze. Like,
all right, hang on.
Oh my, like the light.
Hang on.
He didn't even
This
know
is how we're gonna do this. Give me your belt loop. When I go over the side, he's coming with me.
Michael still hasn't caught a snake. He's really got to prove himself. The wildlands around the edge of the Everglades are not only ideal Burmese python habitat, but the many trails make it more efficient for python hunters.
There's another game trail over here.
Which means Michael really needs to find a snake.
If you don't find one soon, we have to come up with a sacrifice to the snake gods. And I mean, you know, it makes the decision pretty easy.
I got a sharp knife too, buddy. Just stay back. Bob!
You got one?
Yeah. Sean, get under the rock. Get it. Oh, shh.
Hang on.
Don't let it get under the rock.
No.
You got it? That's spewing all over the place. Ah!
You got him?
Yeah.
That's a...
Whoa! Yeah.
He likes
Come
you.
to Papa.
Yeah, you hold him. So I just grabbed his tail, and I'm yelling to Sean, grab it before it gets under the rock. Time he got over and grabbed that, I realized the rock was only that big. But hey, you know what? I won't be quite as excited next time, but this one was good.
That is a great snake. Let's get us
him
out in the open somewhere.
Out of this hole here so we can get all our measurements and everything on this guy.
This animal's healthy.
It's another wild python with natural colors. Further confirmation that they're not finding specially bred Burms in the wild with albino or other color mutations.
Look at it. This animal's strong. You know, he's fighting. He's not listless.
No, he
Good-
found a good place
good
to hide
tongue
in that
action.
cold weather.
Nice muscle tone.
Guys, let's get a quick temp on this guy before we handle him too much.
All right.
See where we're at here. Shoot that.
78.1, max read. He's reading about the same as the ground.
Hey, I went first last time. Let's guesses, length?
6'8".
Okay, you're saying 6'8". I'm saying 7'2".
7'2.5". Isn't that how that works, right?
Give me the vent first.
I got 96 overall just because I'm staring at it.
All right, Sean, you beat me by a ½ inch.
It didn't look that long to me.
It's all how you play it. It's all how you play the numbers.
2.5 meters long. In the Everglades, male Burmese pythons typically grow to 3 meters. So based on its size, this one's probably less than 2 years old.
All right.
You got another bag?
Hey, I gotta say,
Yeah.
Mikey, welcome to the club.
Here, you too.
Yeah,
Have some
right.
spooge.
Then he uses the spooge hand.
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's exciting because it's my first, catch for the season. It's my snake. It's my catch. These guys got to stop ribbing me. So now I'm gonna see. I'm one of those guys. It sneaks past. I'll have more catches than both of them in no time. This thing's got a lot of energy.
You want to see how cooperative this guy is?
Yeah.
Yeah, there he goes.
Got him? Oh yeah. He's still pissy. Oh, more crap.
Literally?
Literally?
All right.
Man.
Yep. Good deal.
Minus one more.
All right. Good job,
Good
boys.
man.
Good job.
All right.
Their journey has allowed Michael to catch his first python of the season. And in the face of the ongoing debate, help explain how these snakes first started breeding in the wild. Since Hurricane Andrew in 1992, just over 1,300 Burmese pythons have been captured. With thousands of the snakes still breeding in the wild, it's but a drop in the bucket.
Snake!
The work of the python hunters is needed more than ever. So while a few escaped python pets will continue to harass the suburbs, there's no doubt that a serious problem in the wild remains. threatening the many endangered species in the Everglades.
There's something moving up in front of us. That's a berm. That's a berm. Right there, Greg. Get there.
Next on Python Hunters.
Look at the injuries to that animal.
This dude is not happy.
The hunters get struck, stuck, and splooged. Trying to uncover how a once-in-a-lifetime weather event
This is not looking good for the berm.
could impact the python population in the Everglades.
Something was eating it alive.
Burmese pythons have invaded Florida. To eradicate them, the state's issued 15 special permits to snake experts. And these men got permits 1, 2, and 3. Biologist Sean Heflick has been chasing, studying, and breeding reptiles his entire life.
I have never been afraid of snakes.
Exotic reptile breeder and cop Greg Graziani knows his pythons inside and out.
I got my first Burmese python when I was 12 years old.
Python breeding pro Michael Cole has sold his designer color mutations for as much as $25,000.
I've learned about reptiles the hard way. I didn't go to school for it. It was a passion.
Now, these snake breeders are defending the Everglades. They are the Python Hunters. Recently, reports of python sightings have fallen off sharply. The hunters are investigating why.
Hey, guys, I got it berm.
Bad shape.
Oh man, something's been eating him.
He's alive.
Oh, he's very much alive.
Look at that.
Ah, look at the injuries to that animal. Oh my, watch it. You got it?
Something literally ate this while it was alive.
While it was alive, couldn't get away.
Wow. Dude, when I looked down, I thought it was a dead berm. Because all I saw was this portion of the tail.
I don't know, it's been chewed on hard.
I mean, big time, almost down to the bone. This animal had some spunk to it.
Yeah,
and look
when
how
I
much
grabbed it, it
damage,
took
look how
off.
tough these things
This
are.
is actually truly horrific.
It is, but scientifically very, very interesting. I think this is an incredible find because we are doing research. This isn't about just catching them and removing them. We need to study them, we need to find out what they're doing. Nature does funny things, as you just saw.
This python could have fallen victim to one of the Everglades' most notorious scavengers.
Is this animal bite, Sean?
If you look at the beaks on vultures, they're tough. I mean, they are designed to rip flesh. See this? Boom.
That's
boom,
a mouth.
Yeah,
boom, boom.
that's chunks taken
You
out.
know, just chunks after chunks. I will lay money that when this thing was cold in a catatonic state almost,
Something was picking it.
something just came up and was eating it alive. I want to measure the width and the length of the injuries
Yeah.
and placements.
He's all messed up.
I'll be honest with you. I'd like to actually set him up and see how well this animal would survive.
With all those scars?
Yeah.
An animal to sustain that kind of wound and survive is amazing.
Head temp is 80.8.
It's been laying there for the last 15 minutes, warming up, catching the sun rays, and now it's got enough energy to try to get away again. Look at that. It's ready to go. You gotta get it. You gotta bag it up.
You know, with the severity of those wounds and the fact that there was no necrosis and it had already started to heal itself, that's a good indicator that these animals are resilient. You know, there's a lot that either the environment or man can dish out to them and they can survive it.
One more gone from the Everglades.
The injured berm will now get a chance to recover in Greg's lab.
We're gonna take care of this snake here and see just how bad the wounds are, because a wound like this for any other animal would normally be fatal. If this animal is able to survive, it's gonna let us know that they're a lot tougher than we believe.
The Burmese python evolved in the full tropical climate of Southeast Asia, and it seems to have trouble adapting to Florida's colder weather.
The difference between a cold-blooded animal like this Burmese python and mammals, which are warm-blooded, is this animal cannot regulate its own body temperature. It has to find sunlight during the day to raise its temperature. It will seek the sun, it'll get on hot rocks or pavement, and with the coloration on this skin being very dark pigmented, it absorbs heat extremely quickly, raising the core temperature of this animal. Once that occurs, this animal has the energy to defend itself, hunt, digest, and have its immune system work properly.
Up until now, the South Florida Everglades has proven an ideal territory for the invasive Burmese python. It's kilometer after kilometer of hot, humid, perfect snake habitat. Originally from the jungles of Southeast Asia, the pythons easily travel through the shallow waters of the glades. Perfectly camouflaged, they can disappear into the grassy landscape, ready to ambush one of dozens of local prey species. The hunters want to know what left this highly evolved predator so defenseless that it could be nearly eaten alive. They have a hunch. Florida is experiencing some of its worst weather in almost a half-century, a cold snap. The coldest winter in 30 years means temperatures up to 20 degrees below normal. Crops are freezing on the trees. Cold-blooded animals like snakes are especially vulnerable. Without warm shelter, they risk dying of exposure. And the weather isn't just threatening Florida's alien species population. According to state officials, it's also having a catastrophic effect on native and endangered species.
We have 1,000 manatees that were killed. We found 100 crocodiles, American crocodiles, in their native habitat down here in the saltwater, edge of the saltwater, were killed. The bonefish, the beloved bonefish you go fly fishing for, dead by the thousands. We had to put a closure on snook and tarpon and bonefish.
The cold weather's upon us. It's dipping down, pretty quick now that that's sun setting. We had animals out getting the sun, but once the sun gets off of them, it's just too cold,
Sean and his son Thorn rushed to get their exotic animals under cover. For most of the year, Florida's climate is nearly perfect.
Cold again. I gotta come inside.
For animals that evolved to live in tropical forests, like the Burmese python. But the short winter here can be hard, and this one is the worst in 30 years.
Cover the tortoises up, get them in their hay.
Thorn grew up surrounded by cold-blooded creatures, a willing and able assistant sharing his dad's fascination with reptiles.
They're from Africa, so they typically burrow down where the cold weather can't get to them at night. So we have to cover them up with hay and a blanket.
Got them tucked in?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Now everyone's speculating what the impact of the cold snap has been on the invasive Burmese python.
They don't belong here. They're outside of their range, and the cold will kill them.
It's going to be very interesting to find out how the wild population does.
If I had to, make an educated guess, I'd say that they're gonna lose some snakes, and the ones that do survive, it's gonna put them in a bad way.
The hunters want to find out how badly the pythons have been hit by the cold. They also want to test a controversial theory on Burmese python spread. A report from the U.S. Geological Survey suggests that these invaders could spread from South Florida across a third of the U.S. The hunters want to know if the cold can stop their spread. For if the pythons can't survive this, then there's little chance of them surviving further north.
Looks like this winter's just gonna present a golden opportunity. They gotta be getting hit hard with this winter, this far north.
The bulk of the pythons that we found down in this area, I think where we need to check is north of 41 and south of 75, which is going to be right in this general area. We've caught a couple of pythons here, but we need to see how far north are they actually going and how many are actually there.
They're heading north, deep into the remote tree island areas of the Everglades. And to get around those parts, they'll need help.
Let me give a call to Captain Sean, see if we can get the use of his airboat. He was raised out here and he's a Gladesman.
he can probably knock it all out far easier than we can map it out.
For the guys, hunting in the ever-changing Everglades can be an adventure in navigation. So when they need a gladesman, they call on Captain Sean Myman.
Gladesman's a person that has a desire and a strong love for the Everglades. There's no secret handshake. It's just a more of a comfort level. You spend enough time out here and it really becomes a part of you. You know, I couldn't imagine life without it.
In the Florida Everglades, species survival is delicately balanced. Here, animals and habitats rely on the water. It may span across 1.5 million acres, but it's only 3 meters at its deepest. The best way to traverse these marshes is by airboat. This flat-bottomed watercraft with a powerful engine is designed to skim the shallow waters. The hunters sit up high with a clear view of any wildlife. And when they spot it, this vessel can turn on a dime. Captain Sean delivers the hunters to a remote tree island area where few people ever tread. The hunters believe it'll have the ideal conditions for pythons.
Hey man, this area over here is perfect. Look at the sunlight coming through here.
But there are holes all over the place on this thing for rodents and that.
Let's see what we can find on this while the sun's still hitting us.
Yeah, this is nice.
The hunters are beginning to wonder if any pythons survive the cold snap.
Oh, what you got?
Vertebrae.
That's a good-sized python.
That's bigger than anything we've seen so far. Vertebrae.
Yeah, there's ribs all over the ground here.
Yeah,
Look at this.
Yeah, a massive snake.
Look at the width on that.
The size of the rib cage indicates a massive python.
That is going to be a big animal.
Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah.
Skull? What you got?
No, I got jawbone.
He's got bottom jawbone.
Ouch.
Look at those teeth.
I mean, that's a big animal. Potentially, that's 15 foot plus. This might be the biggest snake we've encountered thus far.
The longest Burmese python ever found in the Everglades was just over 5 meters. In the wild, male Burms typically grow to 3 meters and females to 4 meters plus. This one was probably as large as they get, but even at that size, something was able to defeat this giant snake.
Ribs everywhere. Some of them busted.
So what do you think? Something was preying on this snake?
In normal conditions, a snake that size would be formidable. After seeing this, Sean develops a theory. The cold must be hitting the bigger pythons harder, slowing them down, making them easy prey.
Ribs don't just inadvertently break for no reason. They're tough.
Well, you know what? This is all cool, but I'm gonna hunt live snakes. You guys have fun with the bones.
Well, I'm torn. You know how much I love bones.
I'll tell you what, you hang here with your skeleton, and Michael and I, he's already ahead of us out there in the sunlight where something's gonna be laying.
Okay, if I don't go, y'all ain't gonna catch squat, so I'm gonna go with you so you actually have a hunter with you.
All right, Slowpoke, you ready?
Oh! More pythons.
That's a whole different snake at this distance.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get GPS.
This graveyard holds a lot of data for the hunters on python's survival.
So this thing's been picked clean.
But they're a long way from home and running out of time before sunset.
This is not looking good for the Burms out here. I mean, with this cold front that's come through, we're finding, you know, carcass after carcass here.
You know, the worst part is we're running out of sunlight.
Yeah, well, I'm hurrying here, man.
You know, if you can't keep up, we're gonna have to get a better secretary.
Yeah, well.
The python hunters are adjusting their strategy with the cold temperatures. They're wondering where the snakes could have gone. And to find out, they're taking deep cover.
Oh, dude, go back there. It's a whole big old pit. Maybe it's wow, it's bigger than I thought.
Sinkhole cave or something?
Let's check it out.
Oh yeah, look at that.
What do we got?
Looks small cave there. Oh, yeah, boy. I love caves.
Man, talk about a place where pythons could be hiding out when it gets cold.
Scattered throughout the Everglades are islands known as hammocks. Trees have colonized the top of these slightly raised limestone shelves.
Wow. Incredible.
But the story is sometimes below the surface.
You guys aren't gonna believe this. It's just wide open. It's a beautiful cave. You gotta get down here and check this out.
Oh, this is awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah. This is cool. Look at these roots. This is like back in time.
Let's get some temps in here. All right, we're at 54 degrees there. So it's actually, you know, a little bit warmer down in the bottom of this cave. Now, I don't know how much body heat we're throwing off.
What you're gonna find is that because we're underground, the rock, the walls, the dirt acts like a perfect natural insulator.
This is prime real estate for snakes, man.
You know, so if it's 30 degrees outside and it's 54 in here, it's over 20 degrees difference, you know, for the positive. So, you know, this makes for a great little micro refugia where they can get in and out of the cold and you know, wait for it to pass.
So for those of us without the letters behind our name, can you define micro refugia?
Yeah, I mean, micro refugia, you know, just like it sounds, micro, it's a small refuge. You know, it's an area where animals seek seek refuge and safety. So
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, right.
No. When we get above ground, I'm looking it up. I don't believe you.
The hunters know the pythons are out here, seeking heat during this cold snap. But they just can't seem to find them. They head out to the warm, rural roads, hoping their luck will improve.
Oh, wait, snake.
Where?
Back.
Dead. Came across the snake, thought it was alive, it was dead. It was kind of one of those, well, let's get, you know, the information anyway.
It's a berm.
Yeah. Damn it, this is a good sized berm, too.
That thing's been thumped and rolled on this road.
With the cold, it appears the animal's trying to find as much heat as possible on the roadway.
That's 10 feet, 2.5 inches.
That's a good sized animal. Yeah, look how skinny it is. What you got, Tim?
69.9.
69.9?
Yeah.
This has been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And the ground, 69.1.
That's more than 6 degrees below normal for a berm. Like all reptiles, pythons can't thermoregulate the way mammals do, so their environment determines their temperature.
Oh, look at that. This snake was sick.
We open up the mouth and we realize that it does appear to have some mucosis in there mixed with some blood due to the cold weather causing the respiratory infection in it.
Look at that. You know what? It looks like that stuff's been coming out of its epiglottis as well. That animal's sick from the cold.
And then it kind of turned comical on us because as we're getting measurements and everything, Sean says to Michael, you know, why don't you get a sex on it?
Male, female, what we got?
Typically in a live snake, you might get a little, you know, a little musk, but, you know, you get the hemipedal inversion, and that's that. You can tell if it's male or female, and you go on your way. I've never sexed a dead snake before. When I squeezed it, went.
The musk gland just squirts right in his face. The odor coming out of that was horrific. I'm laughing hysterically and gagging at the same time.
The best part is he did it to himself.
He just squirted me in the face.
Don't do it. I thought he was gonna blow chunks.
And he'd go, It was the most hysterical thing.
Dude, I've been musked before. By a dead snake.
It was a lesson very well learned for me.
By the taste of things, how old would you say this animal is, Michael?
4.
4. Outstanding.
From my position, it was funny.
Hey, Michael, is it a male or a female?
Next person that asks me about that shit, I'm gonna pop in the face.
After being splooged, Michael leaves to get the stench off his face and clothes. Greg and Sean are heading out looking for python survivors.
What?
Real.
Man, don't let him ditch in that water.
He looks a little bit. Whoa. No, this thing is pitiful.
This thing is not moving.
He has absolutely no power. I mean, look at this. He is dehydrated. I've never seen a snake this skinny. Look at the pelvic girdle right here is sticking out on this animal.
It looks like he's been mushed by a car. He is so flat. Look at this, Greg. He's like laterally compressed. He's so skinny. He's got no muscle tone. He's in bad shape. Let's see if we got any upper respiratory going on here. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Look at this. See that? Bloody mucosal. Oh, look. He's got a little bit of stomatitis right there. See that? Ooh, look at this. Look at that chunk coming out of the thing.
The snake experts recognize an infection of the mucous membranes, a telltale sign of a depressed immune system and a fatal cold weather malady.
Well, if that's the case, that's due to the cold.
This is really an example, though, of what this extreme cold snap has done. Some of them got hit hard right away. Some of them have upper respiratories and other problems associated with the cold, and they're just fighting.
We've never caught a python in this poor shape. I mean, we got a cold spell coming in right now. This animal.
Nah, he would not be long for this world. Whether we caught him or not, he just wouldn't be around for very long. He's on his way out. With the dead animals we're finding, and with the really sick animals from that cold snap, our numbers just went to one side. We were looking at about 50-50 live and dead. Not anymore. Within the last couple of days, we've jacked it way up.
With 68 off the head.
This berm is cold now and will only become colder as the night wears on.
You know, we need to get these out of here, but I hate to see anything suffer like this.
No doubt.
As a biologist, Sean wants to know how wild Burmese pythons cope with below freezing temperatures. He sets up an outdoor study sanctioned by Florida Fish and Wildlife to observe 7 captured constrictors.
They've got plenty of cover. They can get deep down in here. It blocks the wind, blocks a lot of the elements, takes the edge off of it, but they're not doing well. We're just a couple days into this study, and they're cold. You know, we're gonna let this project go for a couple more days and ride it out, see what the temperature does out there.
As soon as the sun comes out, the guys do too.
You know, being out these last couple of times, not finding any pythons and very few native reptiles is kind of discouraging at this point.
But the hunters are determined to find signs of life. They know that morning is the best time to see any of the 29 species of snake living in the Everglades.
Slip on that, and you're 3 hours from somebody who can sew a testicle back on.
Even one of the 4 venomous species.
Snake?
Yeah? You got him?
You got it.
There we go.
Hey, little buddy. Oh, wow. Is that a black or a blue?
You ever talk about the brown-nosed, blacks?
Yeah.
This species isn't venomous. The black racer is one of the most common native snakes in the Everglades, but this one's in trouble.
Yeah, it's almost impacted right here, though.
Same species.
Feel that, Sean?
Wow, that's hard.
Isn't it? I'm telling you, if we don't clear that, this animal probably won't survive.
Snakes can swallow prey up to 4 times their own width, whole. Digestion can take days to weeks and requires an incredible amount of the animal's energy. Intestinal impactions can occur when conditions are poor and can be deadly.
Yeah, there's a lot of liquid coming out. I'm just gonna let him go.
I'm gonna let the probe out for a second here.
Oh, that's foul. That's not.
That's some perfume.
It's almost like septic.
Yeah. Well, if he didn't clear this, he'd be dead.
Bit of feces. That's what's just crazy hard.
How's it feel to save his life there?
Well, that's good. That's what we
That's
do.
a beautiful animal.
Look how dry this is.
He'd have never passed that. There's no way.
The digestive enzymes need a certain temperature to be able to really process it at optimal. And you know, with this cool weather, it's just not getting that. A lot of these snakes aren't, so it caused a massive impaction down there. But it's clear now, so he's got a long life ahead of him, hopefully. When you look at the North American snakes, they have evolved in this environment, in this system, and they hibernate. They just basically go into a almost catatonic state during the cold months. And then when it warms up, they emerge, you know, into the warmth, into the heat, and they go through their reproductive events. Burmese python has not evolved with that capacity.
The Everglades is surrounded by a rough, dense terrain, a protective habitat for many wetland birds, mammals, and reptiles. The perfect place for opportunistic predators like pythons.
Whoa, stay right there. Where? Right here. I'm gonna rain right over. Out the other side. I was watching out your side and almost ran right over the little monster.
Coming out from the Sawgrass. Look at this. Look at this pile of rocks back there behind us.
Oh, he might have been moving right out of there. Oh, this dude is not happy. Yeah, look at that.
Let's get temps real quick before you heat him up. 84.
84, so he's been out sunning a little bit.
The Burmese python's ideal body temperature is in the upper 20s Celsius.
He's got good muscle tone. He looks all right.
You ready for a stretch? 87 total.
The data they collect on each capture will help state wildlife officials better understand the extent of the python problem and how to manage it.
Let's take a new data measurement we don't typically take. Let's take a girth at what we think is the widest part of the body.
To show how healthy the snakes are.
Yeah, let's get that. I think 1/8 1/4 right on the money.
When you look at this one, I would expect this snake to be good 9 to 10 inches in girth in captivity.
You know, for a wild animal, he's healthy wild weight.
Oh, he's definitely, he's in excellent shape. He's got...
He's headed out again.
Yeah, he's wanting to cruise and grab that bag. Let's get him bagged up.
During a capture, the python will expend its energy quickly in defense. For a period, it's almost completely docile until it's worked up enough strength to try to escape again.
We don't need to have a release on top of a capture, do we? Let's not get some spray in there.
We know how you like those ends, man.
I want to temp gun those rocks.
Yep,
Let's see what the temp is on those. Yeah, the temperature on these rocks are elevated. We're getting readings at, 7, 8 degrees higher than the surrounding. This is some great cover right here, actually.
Oh man, there's all kind of crevices and holes in there. Nothing big's gonna be in there.
The tiny crevices in the protective rock habitat probably saved this smaller python.
Whoa, what's that? I got a Burmese python carcass. Serious? Yep.
But no such luck for the larger snakes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a big animal.
This one's dead. That's more evidence supporting the hunter's theory that the small animals are surviving the cold better.
A large python would take a lot longer to get its core temperature where it needed to be active. At the same time, it's going to lose energy a lot quicker if it has to exert it. The smaller pythons can heat up much quicker, and that's why they tend to be faring better in the cold weather.
No doubt. Look at that. Still got a little bit of flavor, huh?
That one, though,
this is crazy. What's wrong, Michael? Michael's gonna vomit on me.
Did you get any in your mouth?
I'm wondering what kind of animal preyed upon this python. This is a large python. I'm guesstimating this python to be 14 feet or so.
It's about as large as wild pythons get. The bigger they get, the bigger prey they need, from rats to rabbits on up. They are efficient predators, digesting everything but small amounts of hair from their victims.
Deer?
Right by your foot. Look at that. What is that?
Right here. Is that deer?
No, it's not deer, it's wild hog.
Hey, there's more of it over here. Whatever, if that makes sense, because this was a large animal. Look at all this.
Yeah.
He ate something as large as a wild pig down here. This animal needed to get a lot of sun to help digest that meal, which is going to make him extremely sluggish. It's going to make him very vulnerable.
Right, but what's the one animal that's really common in this system that can bust and crack ribs of a 14-foot plus python?
Those are the gators.
Those are the gators, no doubt.
No doubt.
Meet the giant python's match, the American alligator. It's the apex predator of the Everglades, numbering in the millions.
This weather's turning bad, guys.
When that, just a couple of minutes ago, it was like a 10-degree drop, just wham, like somebody'd opened a freezer door.
The hunters have to get out of here before the storm arrives. But getting to a hunting habitat and getting out can be two very different things.
All right, I'll push.
You're gonna haul ass and bust through the front of that.
Oh, my boots were stuck under the muck.
At the southern edge of the python hunters' recent hunting territory is a much busier snake habitat, the Tamiami Trail. Determined to hook a live giant, the hunters check this well-known python habitat. At dusk, this is where cold-blooded creatures lounge around the asphalt to absorb the heat from the day.
John! Dead berm.
It used to be a berm. Now it's a coiled corpse.
This is a prime example of what's happened during this cold snap and these freezes, because it's coiled up tightly, trying to get some sun, trying to warm itself up, I presume, and it just didn't make it. We can get a fairly good idea of the size of this snake from doing simple morphometrics. You know, you take the length of the skull and then you extrapolate to the length of a wild snake, and we can cross-reference that with other information we have.
Sean's calculations put this snake at just over 3 meters.
Definitely check out the teeth on this, though, up close, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, it's got a fair set of chompers there. If you were a marsh rabbit or a wood rat, you know, that's the last thing you'd want to see coming at you, but if you saw that, it's too late. Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's the good stuff right there.
A lot of the intestines in that are still here. You can see the fat deposits. So look at this, look at this.
Yep.
Yeah, this was a healthy one.
He just wasn't able to find refuge, yep.
So this is another victim of the weather.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, this, you know, nothing killed this, nothing tore to pieces, nobody ran over it.
This python's warming move has backfired. Positioning itself near the pavement actually exposed this big beast to the elements, freezing it in its tracks.
Our theory that smaller berms, they're possibly doing better. Here's a good size animal, plenty of fat stores. You know, it didn't make it. Thus far, I think our hypothesis is, you know, holding up. We'll see as the days go by.
The hunters have discovered when it comes to pythons surviving the cold, size matters, but they're still not sure why.
We're good to go. Let's find a live one now.
We've caught live ones since the cold snap, and we found dead ones. So the population's certainly not knocked out of the ball game, but it's probably knocked back a bit.
South Florida's long cold snap is playing havoc with many reptile species.
All right, this is really interesting here. We found a yellow-bellied turtle laying eggs in the front of the facility here, and it was the wrong time of the year. She laid them in November. Now, being that these guys are normally born in the spring to summertime, being born in the wintertime here and the strange weather that we've had, this would have probably been a 100% fatality rate for these little turtles. So I went out, I dug up the eggs, and I incubated them. And I've never incubated turtle eggs before, so it was pretty exciting for us. And here, we've actually got one out already. These are the last two stragglers right here. We've got one still in the egg here.
And normally these turtles would hatch underground. And then these little guys would have a huge trek through the pasture back to the water. And if you can see the tip of the snout, you will see the egg tooth right at the tip of his nose there. It's a very light colored, and it almost feels like a little shard of glass. All of the reptiles that hatch out have these little egg teeth, and that's how they cut through the eggs. So we've been lucky enough to get 9 out of the 12 to hatch, and we'll raise these guys up to about 3 or 4 inches so they got a better chance out there in the wild, and then we'll bring them down to the local ponds here on the property and turn them loose. So it's a great story, great ending for these little turtles that wouldn't have even had a chance.
Cold-blooded animals are completely dependent on their environment. But Greg's been amazed before by the python's ability to bounce back from a freeze.
What we used to do years ago, and we don't anymore for euthanization, is actually putting some of these reptiles in the freezer. And we had an injured python that I put in the freezer for 8 hours solid. Took that animal out of the freezer, and 4 hours later, it crawled away. So for short periods of freezing temperature, these animals can survive.
During normal South Florida temperatures, pythons can thrive and fight back. Wrestling 10 feet of muscle with a head the size of a grapefruit that's home to 100 teeth can be tricky. But these are experts.
This is a wild Burmese python, and this is a typical scenario that we find ourselves in when we catch them. Try to get them by the tail, kind of tease them out. Now, let's get her away from the water. Once they figure out that they're not going anywhere, then a lot of times they'll come right back on you. Whoa! Yeah! Especially when they're really warm. You gotta get them behind the head. They're real nimble. They can turn on you pretty good, so you just get it up.
Got him? Oh, yeah.
There we go. All right. You take a bite every now and then, that's to be expected. The intent is not to get bit ever. But you see, they go ahead and wrap those coils around them. That's a lot for support and leverage as well. And then they'll try to pull out of your hand. And you see slowly trying to draw himself back, gain that leverage to get out of my grasp. Try to keep that tail away from you, because that's the business end. Sometimes they evacuate, you know, that urine and that feces and the must on you.
That's spewing all over the place.
She get you?
Yeah, a little bit. I personally would rather get bitten because it's foul, but that's the life of a python hunter.
What in the hell? Dude, you can't put snake heads in my cup holder, okay?
I think the problem is you misidentified my snakehead holder as
For
your
my
drink
cup holder?
holder.
Yeah, well.
To test their theory on python survival skills, the hunters break out their new toy.
Hey, we're bringing the snake cam.
Yeah.
No, it's not a trouser snake cam. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, this isn't a macro. This isn't a magnifying.
Yeah. Funny.
Work.
The hunters have rigged a small camera to the end of a flexible tube. This spy cam will allow them to investigate places where Burmese pythons may seek refuge from the cold snap and help determine what happened to the snakes.
Is that a good spot?
Thanks, sir. Here we go. There's leaf litter and stuff in there, so it's not active.
I can't see anything down there. And that goes way back in there. Anything in there?
Burrow looks like, and it's all cleared out. Hey, look at this.
What you got?
Snake skeleton. Or part of one. Big vertebrae and ribs.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's a berm, no doubt.
Oh, another victim to the cold.
Well, as big as that is, it's shallow. What I'd like to find is deeper ones.
Yeah?
You know, it's all about energetics. You know, if they can't, A, secure enough food and thus energy to survive. They certainly can't reproduce, and if they can't reproduce, they can't establish a population.
We need to actually sit down and tally our numbers since the cold snap and get a real percentage on that.
Well, I think we got enough information here. Let's go ahead and area where we think we might find some live pythons.
This python became frozen dinner for ants and worms. But a few more dips down the road, the hunters discover signs of health in a hole.
I'm trying to get a better angle. It looks like a snake shed. Check this out. On the sun. You see that? Looks like a berm shed.
So there's bits and pieces of it torn in there, so it's
real
fresh.
If that's a shed, ants and the other ant critters will get to that and be gone in 2 days or less.
That's definitely a Burmese shed.
I mean, we got a snake around here then. Yeah.
Finally, signs of life. After finding a freshly shed python skin, the hunters know there's a live snake in the area.
Turtle eggs. Matter of fact, you can see where the nest was dug up. Turtle egg shells around it.
That means there's definitely Burmese python food here because, you know, raccoons, possums, they're eating the turtle eggs.
Greg needs to get out of my head because that's exactly what I was thinking is where there are turtle egg predators. That means there's prey for Burmese python.
Look, there's something moving up there. There's something moving up in front of us.
That's a berm. That's a berm. Right there, Greg, get there. He's going towards you.
When the sun finally comes out, the python hunter spots something glistening in the grass.
Oh, he knows you're there. Look at the tail
Yeah,
going.
he knows. Look at his tail going. He's wagging that tail. That animal is aggravated right now. He had a nice sun spot, and as soon as we come through that right there, he just started moving.
He came out of a hole around here somewhere. I guarantee it.
He's got his head covered right now, and he doesn't see us, so he's pretty calm. He's
Like,
almost invisible.
And that's not very much grass he was in either.
No. Oh, look at him
now
in the
see,
sun.
now the sun comes back out.
Yeah,
Look at him. He shines like a diamond.
Yep. When he moved, all I got was like a reflection glint off the scales. If he'd have stayed stationary like this, we could have walked right over him.
Even though this isn't its native home, the python's camouflage helps to avoid predators.
Yeah, just drag him out. Drag him out in the open.
Come here, buddy. Oh, yay.
And when that doesn't work,
Oh, yeah, he is upset.
it's a feat of physics. A snake uses almost half its body in a defensive strike, and it takes just 1/6 of a second to happen.
Yeah, he feels that heat coming off my hand. Sure does.
Oh, yeah.
He's forgot about me completely. You guys are moving enough.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not completely. Ooh, get that tooth on there! Come on!
He's trying.
You can get it.
Yeah,
you
he's
can get
trying.
it.
Look at that.
Get that flesh.
Look at that. That animal is
It's a
beautiful.
decent looking
Look at
animal.
that. Yeah, look at
Weight-wise.
Yeah. But one of the smaller ones we've seen out here, and we look at these holes that we've been finding,
That's the perfect size to get in there.
He
Get out of the
could
cold.
get in those crevices.
It feels pretty empty.
Little spurs. That's a girl.
Cooperative.
There he is. And we got 85. 7.5, Greg.
7.5 on the girth.
The measurements indicate she's young and healthy.
86, 87.
That's ideal python body temperature. And this snake's lean and mean, all of which have helped her to survive the Florida freeze. It's an important discovery.
Who actually caught that one?
What's that?
I grabbed it first. You saw it first. You get to carry it. Oh, we'll just share it.
Wait a minute.
Kidding?
Wildlife officials think between 3,000 and 100,000 pythons live here. Even if it's possible that 50% succumb to the cold, there's still a huge python problem in the Glades.
Greg's hunting style is a little different than mine in that he doesn't catch as many animals.
Bandit, right there.
Stop.
Bandit water
Stop.
snake right there. Stop, right down on the rocks.
We're both go-getters. You know, if anything, we're racing each other to the snakes, and you know, it's a friendly knockdown, drag out to see who gets there first. Holy cow! Look at that gator. Jesus. What a shit.
Come on, get in there. Son of a bitch.
Oh! All right, give me my snake.
I got this fair and square.
Fair and square, you bailed out of the boat on me.
Look at that gator.
Look at that.
You didn't see the gator?
Yeah, I saw the gator.
Yeah, I got that fair and
Look
square.
at that.
But he's a little sneaky about slipping out, trying to get that one up again on the numbers.
Now, this is a brown water snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was abandoned at first. This is a gorgeous brown water snake.
Oh, no, not again.
You got your phone?
That's why I don't have a leather one, for just that reason.
You know, there's one good thing about this, Greg. He's gonna be freaking miserable the rest of the day.
The sun is back in Florida, and temperatures approach near normal. But after almost 2 straight weeks of lows below 10 degrees Celsius, the coldest winter in 30 years has killed thousands of animals in the Everglades. At Sean's place, his wife Jen and son Thorne get their exotic animals out for some much-needed basking. Meanwhile, the python hunters try to turn their data into conclusions.
We're subtropical, and that's the tip of Florida. These animals have evolved and come from Southeast Asia, which is full-on tropical climate.
The farthest north animals we found are in very poor condition, and now all the way down into the south. We're finding just as many dead animals as we are live ones now after this cold front has gone through.
Extended periods of cold is a death warrant for them.
Sean knows firsthand about the effects of cold on pythons. He conducted a series of state-sanctioned cold weather experiments on the serpents.
Well, it's colder than snot out here. That's what I found. But you know, it's the morning of the 4th day. There's absolutely no response. I don't see any breathing. 26, 27 degrees. That's head temp on this animal. They are icicle cold. Magnificent animals, but they just can't take sustained cold like this.
6 of the 7 snakes perished in the cold. The 7th died later from a resulting upper respiratory infection.
I don't see how all this talk about them making their way up to Georgia and the Carolinas and then to Virginia and on up to Washington has any merit at all.
So you're saying we're not going to have pythons crawling across the White House lawn in 10 years?
No, not at all. Don't believe they're going to be crawling across the governor's mansion's lawn in Florida or Georgia either.
The very southern tip of Florida is the only thing that's going to support these animals. These respiratory infections with their immune system down could take months to take its toll on these pythons. So we got a lot more data to get out there and collect.
But these giant snakes have also shown an incredible ability to battle back.
I think they're resilient. I think the fact that we are finding, you know, a number of them still alive means that they're not down and out totally.
We found that one Burmese python that got into that cold state, that catatonic state, and those vultures just, you know, picked a 15-inch by 4-inch chunk of meat out of that thing.
As part of a fully sanctioned experiment, Greg took the python back to his reptile facility. There, he enlisted his son Lane in helping with its recovery. They gave the ravaged wild Burm water and a warm, dry spot to recover from its wounds.
I'm gonna pass it off to you, all right, Lane, so I can inspect the body on this guy again. Still acting like that wild Burm. Can you get him under here? Slide under my hand.
When Lane's at school, he's got such a reputation for dealing with wildlife.
Tell me when you got him.
That any time they've got a snake or something in the playground, they call him out of class to come catch it.
All right, look at this. Well, look how good he's healing. And that was raw muscle last time. So this is where a bunch of them ate part of his skin right off, and then they pecked throughout his body. And when we caught that animal from the nose all the way around this eye, looked totally damaged. And after this animal has shed out, you can see he's got a little bit of scar tissue around the eye, so he's missing this big scale right here around that one eye. But other than that, everything else is healing perfectly on this animal. That's amazing. What do you think?
I think he's doing good. Here's a maggot. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that is good. You know why that's good?
Because they eat the dead skin off.
That's exactly right.
That's amazing to show the resilience of these animals. So, I mean, I don't think by any means we've wiped these things out.
So I think we can all agree
that having a cold event that would totally eradicate them is probably not going to happen. So we're still going to have to manage these animals.
You know, we've collected a lot of data,
It's adding up. It's putting the, the pieces in the puzzle, But there's still a lot more data to collect.
As strange as it sounds, it's really a dance between us and the python. The python doesn't necessarily dance to the tune we have in mind. Sometimes we step on each other's toes. That's the life of a python hunter.
Next on Python Hunters. The hunters are on the lookout for some new Everglades invaders.
Oh my God, look at them all.
The green iguana and the African rock python.
Very, very magnificent animal and very misunderstood.
Plus, the prolific and powerful Burmese python.
When they feel threatened, they're gonna come out shoot.
Burmese pythons have invaded Florida. To eradicate them, the state's issued 15 special permits to snake experts. And these men got permits 1, 2, and 3. Biologist Sean Heflick has been chasing, studying, and breeding reptiles his entire life.
I've never been afraid of snakes.
Exotic reptile breeder and cop Greg Graziani knows his pythons inside and out.
I got my first Burmese python when I was 12 years old.
Python breeding pro Michael Cole has sold his designer color mutations for as much as $25,000.
I've learned about reptiles the hard way. I didn't go to school for it. It was a passion.
Now these snake breeders are defending the Everglades. They are the Python Hunters.
Hey, python! You got one? Yeah, a little one. Right here, in this thicket. Guys, you coming?
Not far, I can't get through here. I'm 4 feet away and I can't get through you. You got it?
Where you at? Right here. You tagged me a couple of times.
Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, we got you again.
Yeah, he's wrapped around that wood. Yeah, we got it.
Ooh, got him.
Ow.
There you go.
Oh.
Watch your face.
I love you, baby. Want kisses? Kisses, baby. Clean looking animal, but he's got some bite wounds or something on his neck. A bit of scarring in that.
Not surprising, given this carnivore has only its powerful jaws to grab hold of both predators and prey.
Awesome little dude. Right here in this sun patch as I walk through. Don't do that, not on the thumb. No, not on the thumb, buddy.
It's also not surprising that this species from Southeast Asia has taken hold in the Everglades.
Get some temps, Greg, because he was in that sun.
88 degrees on the head.
Wow, yeah. So he's sitting here warming himself up. Perfect location.
These cold-blooded creatures need the heat for building energy.
And I think I rattled that, branch.
Right.
Boom. Oh.
This habitat offers ideal cover to hunt or hide.
Wipe your hand and one more down.
Good stuff. The plan's starting to come together.
More than 1/10 of the animal species living in the Everglades don't belong here. Florida Fish and Wildlife estimates that this already fragile ecosystem is home to hundreds of invasive mammal, fish, reptile, and bird species. Plus, over 1,000 exotic insect and plant species. Nearby Miami is an international port with a large exotic animal trade. So some of the foreigners came to Florida by accident, but some were introduced on purpose. Because of the hospitable climate, diverse habitats, and limited predators, most are thriving, but one in particular is getting all of the bad press.
I know there's huge hysteria because these are snakes. Out of the 453, 457 non-native species that FWC monitors, We're only worried about one. And that's the Burmese python.
Dispelling that hysteria has the python hunters on a mission.
We need to tread carefully, we need to go slowly, and we need to figure out before spreading mass hysteria what really is going on with these populations out there. There's no doubt they shouldn't be there. Nobody's going to argue that. They're exotic, they don't belong, but they're not necessarily the alligator that ate Manhattan.
How do these Burmese pythons fit into the ecosystem? What are they eating? What's eating them? Well, we know they're generalists. They can pretty much take anything. They're taking small mammals, the rats and rabbits, birds. They've taken alligators.
Is there any other data at this point that there is a decline in another species due to these pythons?
We know that these pythons have eaten at least one wood stork and at least one blue heron. But we also know that wood storks and blue herons eat a lot of snakes.
And then we've got the American alligator. That's the big boy out there. That's the one that eats adult burms as well as juveniles and anything in between. It's definitely, I think, going to benefit that population.
But there's no research on it.
The hunters are performing a necropsy on a berm killed by cold weather for a close-up view of the adaptations that have made it so successful.
We can speculate that there'll be absolutely no problems or that the problems will be horrific, but what do we have to look at to figure that out?
Maybe no one would notice if the pythons stayed in the wilds of the Everglades, eating rats and rabbits. But they don't.
You could see that dog was barking and barking. We know something's wrong.
Rafael Gonzalez thought it was crazy when his daughter told him what she smelled in the chicken coop.
I already got like the sense of the smell of them. And you know what, they smell like snake around here. And the next day when we came, the snake was right there in the back.
And one of her ducks is gone. An easy meal for a large constrictor that squeezes the life out of its prey. Michael knows firsthand the strength of a Burmese python.
I can describe what it's like to be attacked by a python pretty good, because I was grabbed by a 12-foot Burmese python and wrapped up. It was my own mistake. I was feeding the animal, and it got a hold of my hand instead of the prey. And when it wraps up around its prey, it squeezes. It squeezes. Every time you breathe out to take a breath, it tightens. Eventually what happens is you cannot breathe in anymore. And that's how it eventually suffocates its prey.
What makes these things so powerful is not that they have copious amounts of muscle. You see how they tie in at a cross section, right?
Yeah.
They literally make a cross hatchwork. And that's what makes them so powerful, is the way their muscles contract and are tied into the ribs and then to the spinal column. It's a ratcheting system. You know, it locks it into place.
Burmese python, 12.5 feet long, is not big enough to suffocate me. Had I not known what I was doing, and if I were a smaller person, it could have been a pretty tricky spot to be in.
Like the one the Gonzalez family was facing. Stuck in their fence was a snake, thick with their missing duck, swallowed whole.
When they eat the duck, it was like this.
The family decided to attempt to capture it.
When we corner an animal like that, when they feel threatened, they're gonna come out, you know, shooting, so to speak.
And she tried bite me, and she bite the wood. She bite the wood, you know, we look and look.
We were able to pull her out, okay, but she tried to get away from us. But at the same time, when we were pulling her around, she started losing like a fluid. It was like urine or something, and it smelled, but it was like an oil.
It's spewing all over the place. Ah!
They have glands that they'll secrete this foul-smelling odor. And if you're a predator and you get that in your face, or you get that, God forbid, you get in your mouth, you're gonna think twice about devouring that thing.
The Gonzalezes got the python into a bin. With its energy completely depleted by digestion, the snake regurgitates its prey as an escape tactic.
This is her mouth right here, and this is the duck. And here's when we called the fire department and they came to pick her up. This is the snake itself. I'm afraid especially for my animals, my dogs, okay? Because they're small dogs. She was able to get a duck. I know my dog is just perfect dinner for her.
The Burmese python's occasional appearances in urban and suburban areas has got the state officials' attention. But no one truly knows what impact this invasive species is having on a much more vulnerable environment, the Everglades.
Yes, Officer Collins, this is Michael Cole, one of the python hunters. We're going to be going out doing a hunt today.
It was almost a joke when Michael approached the commissioners and said, well, we need to take the Everglades back. And one of the commissioners said, are you willing to go out and hunt pythons? And Michael said, yeah, I've got more people with me that are willing to help.
I'm permit number 1, 2, and permit number 3.
And the commissioners were like, well, it looks like we've got 3 guys that are serious that can go out, collect these snakes, get the data we need to see exactly what, if any, detriment they are to the environment. And that's pretty much how the team got put together.
Slow down, slow down.
Oh, what are you hollering about, man?
Oh, nothing, just a burp.
Look at that.
Dude, I walked not 20 feet from here.
Coming towards this log.
I don't think I'd have seen it, but it was moving.
They can barely see it, and it can barely see them.
You know what? It's in a shed. It can't even see. Totally blued. It has no idea.
If I stand still, this snake will crawl right past me. Oh, he's deep in shed. Look at that.
Yeah, that's I don't think you can see it. The damn thing.
As snakes grow, their skin doesn't. So they need to shed their skin as often as several times a year. The clear scales that cover their eyes dry out and appear to turn blue. For that time, they are nearly blind and have to rely on their heat sensing to know when another animal is near.
He doesn't even know that's my foot. He senses something. Look at him sniffing.
He also's got that heat sensing. He just realized a big, massive animal just got in front of him. And look what he did. He immediately rerouted himself.
Yeah. You know, in this state, that snake is defenseless. Almost defenseless. I mean, you can come within 2 feet of it and do whatever you want.
Yeah, predator would have no problem taking this animal right now. I tell you, this is pretty cool because we rarely get the opportunity to watch these guys like this. It's always run, snatch, grab, you know.
Because of the shed, I guarantee it. All because of the shed.
I can get some pics while he's, you know, while he's doing his thing.
This foreigner's survival is helped by its tan, brown, and black camouflage, blending it seamlessly into the glades grasses.
In this viewfinder, I can't see him. I mean, I know where he's at. I have to look with my naked eye and see that one section.
For the capture, Michael's snake catching technique is one that should only be used by experts.
Typically what we'll do is grab the animal by the tail, and a lot of times at that point they get aggravated because they're being restrained and they want to know what has them. You can see this animal's being a little bit aggressive here. We can use this hook here to direct the head a little bit. There we go. And once we've got the animal behind the back of the head there, got him under control, we can control the tail, which again, you can see he's starting to musk and urinate and defecate. And the first thing they do is start to try and bite you, and then they start throwing loops around that head until you release it.
Half forgetting this isn't a tame snake.
Hey, you grab me by the neck like that, I'm gonna bite you too.
Snake's in good shape. Tell you, being a snake lover, sometimes it's difficult to not want to just let him go. Just let him go on his way.
Total, we got 89.
They don't belong in this ecosystem. We have to move them out of it. We have to take them into captivity, and that's what we've been charged to do by the Florida Fish and Wildlife. So we're gonna have to do that.
Vulnerable as it may be right now, at just over 7 feet, it's young, healthy, and time for this invader to go.
All right, let's get this one bagged and get going before it gets too hot out here. You got to do the bag?
Do the damn bag. You can go deep. It's all right.
After nearly 2 decades of pythons breeding here, the hunters face an overwhelming task.
As far as the wild population of Burmese pythons here in Florida, there have been estimates anywhere from 3,000 to 117,000 out there in the wild. After going out and working for a number of months and capturing those animals, I honestly couldn't tell you how many are actually out there. But if I had to bet, the number's much closer to 3,000 than it is to 117,000.
The hunter's task today is to determine just how much damage invasive species are doing to the Everglades.
As far as the invasive reptile species in Florida, we really don't know if any of them are actually detrimental to the ecosystem or not. South Florida is now home to a number of species, both birds, fish, mammals, and reptiles, that are exotic and have been established.
That sun's feeling good.
We haven't got any studies back that actually show a decline in native species.
Man, box turtle shell.
You need to show that there's a decline in those species for there to actually be an ecological problem. So that's part of what we're here to figure out.
This is a native Florida box turtle shell. It's a neat little turtle, actually, that lives down here in South Florida. Rather rare to find anymore. They used to be very abundant, but crossing the road, and actually they make great pets, so they were collected up for pets in a lot of places. Now that state laws protected them, so we're not allowed to just take them. Poor guy has probably died in the brush fire that came through here.
Brush fires are a natural process in the Everglades. Valuable for renewing the soil and the plant life, but deadly to any small animal unable to outrun them.
And it's amazing to me to see within a couple hundred yards, 3 of them. I haven't seen 3 Florida box turtles in the wild in the last 20 years.
What do you got?
Turtle nest has been dug up.
It's a fresh one, which means there's got to be some good prey on this island for some berms. All the other turtle nests we found have been, really, dry and.
Oh, these are still, look at this, they still got yolk.
Yeah.
Look at that. That was probably dug up last night.
Oh yeah, it's not dried at all. The egg's still supple.
I still got a good egg in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't molest it.
But it wasn't a Burmese python that ate these turtle eggs.
Some mammal has more than likely found these eggs and scarfed down, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
The only
7.
mammalian predators that are gonna do that kind of damage is raccoon or possum.
Yep. I think the best thing we do, we don't know how many other eggs are down here, but is go ahead and cover this back up gently and go ahead and throw some of this foliage back over here and hopefully, maybe our scent will be enough to keep another raccoon or something out of here.
All right, and I know this may sound crazy, but I'm gonna urinate around this thing to keep predators away from it.
Knock yourself out.
I'm on the wrong side of this.
They don't like the scent of human. We're an alien in this landscape for the most part.
Hey, Sean, I got something right up your alley over here, buddy.
Smell, sight, we're just weird creatures.
I've got some feces.
Looks like 2 different piles, actually. This one, full of turtle eggs. Look at all this. And even better, we've got an insect wing. So whatever this was, it's a generalist. It's an omnivore. And if you look here, got some telltale signs of hairs that look like possum hair, probably taken in from grooming.
So it's possibly a possum.
Yeah, unless a raccoon was grooming a possum.
That's a possibility.
I feel like I'm hunting with Elmer Fudd.
Well, I certainly would have expected it to be raccoons rather than possums.
But you know what? Possums are just the consummate omnivore. They just like to eat anything they can get a hold of.
Small mammals are ravenous and resilient and can upset this fragile ecosystem. But the hunters have a bold theory on what animal is balancing that.
These Burmese pythons may actually be slithering right into a niche that has been depressed, and that is the mesopredators or the middle predators. No one wants them there. We realize they don't belong, but they be doing a service. We've lost a lot of those predators like the bobcats and the coyote that would feed on the same thing, the rats and the raccoons and the rabbits down there.
This has got some good beetle parts all through it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Are you guys finishing up here? I'm just backing away.
Now who's getting excited about a little feces, huh?
Here we go, look at this.
All right, that's very interesting. And you guys enjoy the rest of your feces.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff. Let's go find something alive now.
The hunters travel to the edge of the Sawgrass Marsh to hunt through the knee-deep waters.
There's some snail eggs.
Yeah, those aren't native though. Those are the Asian apple snail eggs.
Not supposed to be here. That's all we got up by me.
Yeah, these things are out competing the indigenous one. You know, the indigenous ones are large, about twice the size, and white, just snow white. These are real easy to tell because they're pink and small.
Yeah, the native ones are, the egg itself is twice that size.
Well, you know, there's only one thing to do with these, right?
Shoot, all you have to do is drop them in the water at this point to drown, right?
Guaranteed better than that. Just squish them and be done with it. It's like caviar. It tastes like crap.
I'll take your word for it.
This water is way deeper than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing that goes on when we're out hunting snakes is truly finding them.
Oh, squishy there.
I mean, we put a lot of time and a lot of effort out there. We bust our butts. It's hot, it's mosquito-ridden. You know, there's lightning. We can get rained on. It's putting in the time on the ground, putting in the effort, sometimes painstakingly so. You're in sawgrass, you're in water, you're getting muddy, you're getting filthy.
Thick. What are you two doing?
I think I just sucked a snail up my...
Oh, God, it's cold, man.
I think that there are some labors out there that we go through, but they're labors of love because we appreciate these snakes for what they are and how magnificent they are.
Dang, we don't catch anything. You're swimming back.
Swimming back? I got the key in my pocket.
Ah, this is gorgeous. Look at this, man. Nice, high and dry. This is female laying terrain right here, man.
Yeah, this is nice. At least look at that mound. That mound's 3 feet above water level.
Yeah. Nice sunspot right through the center here. Look at this.
What's that, Michael? Oh. He said that this reminds him where he used to bring his cousins when he was younger.
Wow. I'm not even gonna touch that, Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit too close to home.
Where's the head? the head.
Oh, got me too.
You hang on.
I got it. All right.
Good job, Michael.
Good snag.
Good job,
was he
man.
floating, swimming?
Which way was he headed? Did you hurt something?
I broke a knee.
You got it? All right. It was worth it.
All right?
Yep, I'll be fine. It was worth it for the cause, buddy. Ooh.
Oh.
Oh.
That's my snake.
Little frisky.
Hey, come on, man.
Yeah, let's bag this one.
You know what, though? Here's the kicker.
Oh, he got me, Lil.
Yeah.
He nicked me.
Oh, you'll be all right. Well, we've got 2 islands here. Obviously, this animal's moving from island to island. But this is your snake, right?
I wasn't expecting one out here.
But this is your snake, right?
Well, yeah.
100% your snake.
My God.
All right, just clearing that up, because we got to go back to the beast. We got to get all the measurements and everything. We'll give you a GPS.
You come back.
It's pretty simple. We're halfway between these 2 islands, so it's a real easy spot to mark.
So you come back
but
and get it.
It's your snake.
This guy's been out here probably since it was born, living in one of these tree islands and traveling back and forth, getting what it needs to eat. This is probably right around 2 years old. It's either a 2 or a 3-year-old. It just depends on how much food it's actually getting out here as to how fast he grows.
The hunters can guess at the approximate age of the snake by its size.
Hey, look at this. I mean, this animal is full of fatty bodies.
Back at the lab, the necropsy shows this snake was a healthy predator.
He's definitely been eating. We got all this fat stores over here.
Food intake is stored in fat deposits that run along the length of the snake's body.
Nothing in there.
Obviously, this animal is eating well enough, and they're efficient enough to only eat a few times.
Yeah, you know, we've heard that the media and others have put that out there, that they're talking about these animals eat daily and they're sucking down all this food. And we know that not to be true. It could be out there maybe only having to eat once a month. Maybe that constitutes 12, you know, fair-sized prey items. And maybe not even that many, because you look at the cooler months where they don't feed. So maybe that constitutes 8 or 9. It has done well to adapt to these new surroundings.
Well, thanks to us, no more.
The average size of the Burmese pythons the hunters are capturing is around 9 feet, about 3/4 of their maximum length in the Everglades. So the hunters don't believe the opportunistic pythons are pillaging the Everglades of its endangered species. But what impact could the thousands of pythons be having on the rest of the ecosystem?
Anytime there's a large injection of a creature that gets to such immense size and preys on such a wide variety of animals, that there is a definite possibility of it becoming established, and especially in an environment such as the Everglades, where we got great weather year-round and lots of stuff to eat.
It's a swallowtail kite, one of the most graceful birds of prey that there is. Fortunately, they nest high, and they don't hardly ever come to the ground except for when they're on prey, so the Burmese pythons shouldn't affect them too much. This guy just won't quit.
Trying to get you?
He still wants a piece of that animal.
You know, there's a lot of speculation there about this wild population down there, and I think really the goal of what we're trying to do is the more pythons we catch, the more data we collect, and the better the science that comes out the other end is. And it helps us answer the valuable and critical questions that so many people have.
Greg, look at that gator right there. He's coming in for a Burmese python dinner. Sorry, buddy, you'll have to get the next one. This one's mine.
Most never questioned that the American alligator was the apex predator of the Everglades, until recently. In 2005, Everglades National Park Service made an incredible discovery. A Burmese python was found split open with the remains of a 1.8-meter long alligator inside. The photos crossed the globe, raising questions about who is the top predator in the Everglades.
When this picture came out, and then the media's imagination just ran wild. They want, you know, Godzilla, you know, versus the giant serpent.
And we know that not to be true. It's just an impossibility. And there are a lot of issues with this picture. And one is that, you know, this python swallowed this alligator alive. and then the alligator clawed its way out of the python. Anybody who's ever dealt with pythons in captivity knows that pythons do not eat live items.
Well, Burmese python can't crush on a 6-foot alligator skull.
Absolutely not.
My first thought when I saw this picture was, here's a dead alligator that killed a Burmese python. The alligator skull was crushed, so it was either dead or dying, and the snake ate it.
And he's going to consume something that's already dead. He's going to take that chance before he's going to go after a live one and have to fight it to kill it and do that. So he'll try and eat something bigger.
Let's say a large gator comes along. You're this python sitting there trying to digest this massive meal, and he sees an opportunity. If you're under those conditions, now you become the disadvantaged prey item for a predator. And you have a bit of a struggle, and a gator being a gator rips your head and part of your neck off. Free meal, and he swims away with it.
One thing's 100% sure. If we get rid of the Burmese pythons out there, this can't happen again.
Florida's thousands of invasive plant and animal species cost the state hundreds of millions of dollars a year between the damage they cause and the efforts to control them. And now there's a new kind of python fish and wildlife officers need to contend with.
We're not just dealing with the Burmese python. We're talking about the African rock python.
Very, very magnificent animal. Incredible looking. And very misunderstood.
The African rock python is the largest snake in Africa, and in the pet trade is mistakenly thought to be the most vicious of the giant snake species.
Unfortunately, the African rock python has gotten a bad name for being aggressive and nasty, and that's simply because very few people have ever worked with captive African rock pythons.
Since 2002, authorities have discovered 8 African rocks in a small area east of the Everglades, including a female with eggs. Thought to be once released pets, this discovery is raising fears of a new invasive population taking hold. Or worse, a combination Burmese and rock python?
Somebody came up with an idea. What if they got together and produced a super snake? Just to calm everybody's mind, there is no super snake out there. To get a natural population, even, a misplaced population, to interbreed with another population is almost nil.
These kind of rumors have the python hunters frustrated.
I think the state of Florida right now, there's a lot of hysteria over, exotic reptiles in the wild.
During the first half of the last century, Florida saw an unprecedented population surge. With the growing urbanization, planners drained the Everglades and rerouted them through more than 2,200 kilometers of canals. This disrupted existing habitats, creating new problems that then needed new solutions.
Hey, Greg!
Since their introduction in the 1930s, the cane toads may have had more of an impact on the Everglades than the pythons.
Oh, you got a bufu toad there, man. Another one of our alien invaders here.
Look at that boy. That's a big fatty, too.
They now number in the millions.
That guy's gonna have to come with us, another invasive animal here.
Well, this was introduced to control the cane beetle. Here's an animal that was introduced for a good purpose that turned out to really take over, and it's a big pest down here now.
Right.
It's kind of like chasing your tail. Well, we can fix this problem, but we're going to create 2 more.
Very few predators for this animal because of the poison glands. It secretes poison.
So I can squeeze him a little bit, and you can see the toxin coming out of there. An animal bites onto that, and gets some of this poison on it in his mouth. He's done. He's out of here. He's not going to finish eating it.
Yeah, looks like he's actually got some damage to one of his glands there, like he's actually been bit by something. Well, we notice he's still here.
Yeah.
So those poison glands right there.
They must work. Now, my son won't mind him coming home. Another neat little critter, but one that doesn't belong here, so. Let's get them removed.
All right.
The cane toads demonstrate that effective defense strategies are key to an invasive species' success, even for the smallest of them.
Fire ants are an impressive species. You know, they account for a massive amount of biomass destruction of native species. You see, they just go crazy when you disturb the nest. You can see how they just hunker down, sting, inject that venom. Pretty horrific if you were an animal that typically fed on indigenous ants. They have no natural predators here in the United States. And down in South America, strangely enough, flies regulate these things. The flies come in, they lay their eggs within the colony, they hatch out, and that's the way that fire ant populations are maintained. Here, I've got nothing wants to eat these things. If you really want to, you know, put yourself in that situation, is if you eat somebody, you know, chew fast. They're real acrid, real acidic, and not the best tasting of ants, without a doubt. Go ahead.
No.
What? You gotta try
I
it.
know where your hands have been. It has nothing to do with the ants.
Chew fast. You still got one in your finger. They're just acidic, you know, but who wants to eat that, you know? Who wants
Not
a
me.
mouthful of that?
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
really
do.
appreciate it.
I'm here for you. Tell you, this is pretty sad. You know, this is nothing but exotics in here. This, you know, right underneath a canopy of Australian pines. And, well, they are well adapted to South Florida. You know, they get a foothold and they just keep growing. And the crazy stuff is that all of this, the needles that they drop, contain a chemical that suppresses the growth of indigenous plant life.
That's why there's absolutely nothing else besides this growing up.
Their roots secrete the same chemical, which allows basically just them to grow. I mean, it doesn't get more invasive and you know, adapted than that.
These were all purposely brought in here that people didn't realize how devastating they were going to be down the road. Now, South Florida is, you know, the perfect breeding ground for all types of exotics. Very few other places in the world, especially in the U.S., could support this type of stuff.
Because of its subtropical climate, the Florida Everglades are home to more invasive plant species than anywhere else on Earth.
That's what people don't understand is worldwide, plants are far more problematic as invasive species than animals could ever be. Let's see if we can find some pythons in all this mess.
You know what? I always wanted to go to the outback snake hunting. I guess we're here.
Welcome.
Welcome to the outback. Oh, what's that?
They do find a python, but it's already dead.
No doubt. Look at that. Nice large vertebrae on that. Look at the size of those ribs. That is a big animal.
But nearby, the hunters uncover the python's last meal, another Everglades invader.
We got this is pig hair. It's a feral pig. You want to talk about the most invasive, you know, animal besides human on this planet, at least in Florida? These feral pigs are just, they tear the landscape up, they tear crops up, they feed on anything. They're opportunistic omnivores. You know, they'll eat snakes, they'll eat anything they can get their little mouths on.
But unlike the Burmese python, not all of Florida's alien species are considered a public menace, especially at beachside.
Oh my God, look at them all.
Holy
This is like
cow.
a zoo exhibit.
That's impressive. Look at all the males' courtship display.
Yeah.
Head bob.
Bobbing their head, throat plates out.
What are there? Easy 100?
Oh, easy.
Dude, there's both
That's
species.
just what we can see. Look at all the thick grass behind there.
Yeah.
But there's access to the beach over there.
Two of the Everglades' 3 non-native species of iguana have taken up residence near this beach, the green and the spiny tail. And they've flourished because they're mostly ignored.
Hey, Sean, check out the sign.
Do not feed the iguanas. Don't feed them any fingers or...
You know what, though? They just put up a sign, don't feed the iguanas. They don't call in a trapper to get them. It's amazing, as an invasive species, that people are tolerating these animals right here.
Talk about exotics and invasives. Here you've got two large iguanid species, the green iguana and the spiny-tailed iguana, and they're cohabitating right here under this huge cement slab.
Originally from Mexico and South America, the iguanas came as stowaways on ships, were escaped or released pets, or were even blown here by hurricanes.
It's amazing these guys have been here so much longer than the Burmese pythons, and it doesn't bother anybody.
No, they don't care.
Not afraid of people. Look at them.
They've got a resort mentality.
They're out here in Club Med.
That was one python out there, there'd be 911 calls, let alone 100 pythons coiled up out here.
People would be freaking out, and they'd evacuate this end of the island.
No, there's your pretty white male right there.
I'm about ready to sneak up here, see if I can catch one.
Yeah. Tell you what, well, you know, I always keep a nice pair of gloves just for this situation here, because like we talked about, these guys are going to tear you up. You got to worry about the claws, the mouth, and the tail.
It's coming to me. Wait for it. Sissy.
Well, we'll see who catches what here.
That dude's
That's incredible right there.
magnificent
Look at
right
that.
there.
If you want him, you better cut him off, because they're all going to pile in that hole right there. See, they've
He's
taken their
already
time
going.
one at a time.
I
can't believe how quick that
Did you
thing
see
is,
that?
man.
Look, dudes, get that.
Just got to jump on it, Greg. Come on. Come on.
But
yeah, he knows what's up now.
That big bite on his back.
Go, 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 go. You got him.
Animals blowing up. I mean, they just take in air immediately. Look, you can see the claw on this thing that's already hooked into the glove right here. Hadn't I had those gloves on, that'd have been embedded in the side of my arm right there. Look at the horns on his nose. I mean, these things are just incredible animals. You got, holy cow, Mikey got one.
Oh, he cheated.
How did I cheat?
You got a male or a female there? Yeah,
Male.
The female.
Well, they're porous. They're small, though.
Yeah, that's a female though. And you can tell, flip it over. You can actually see the eggs in this animal. Let's put these two up as shorts.
He's got total advantage.
But the big white male hasn't given up yet. Of course, neither will Sean.
Rick right there?
Yeah?
Give me that glove. I'm not getting my finger bit. Reaching in through there.
Hello? Yeah, I can't get past your glove. It takes up so much room. He's got his legs set on the edge of the concrete.
You about to give up, Sean?
The dude is in there. Hang on. I know this, when he comes out.
He's gonna be mad or
Well, he could turn right now and take a finger if he wanted, I think.
Got himself all puffed up like that.
I might lose a finger, which would suck in an iguana catch, huh?
He's gonna be mad. All right, all right.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
That's my boy.
That's him. That's him. Look at that.
You are a sexy lizard.
Look at that. Look at the difference in temperament between these two lizards. Check out that trachea. Just like the snake, you can see exactly where he breathes. When his mouth's closed, that goes up to the roof of his mouth, so he breathes right through his nostrils. That is an amazing animal right there.
And here's another fine example. Now, it's been said that back in the day, Crandon Park Zoo, the old curator released tons of these spiny tails and greens on the property. And, you know, we're just right up the road from that. And they've had decades and decades to move on.
Back then, you know, before people knew better, they were kind of like peacocks. They brought them in, they let them loose on the grounds, and because they were fed and the habitat was there for them, they stayed. On top of the zoo facilities that did that, along with the pet trade, they're just, South Florida is just covered with these animals right
And
here.
this is a large breeding population, undisturbed until now.
He's been working the ladies. Working the ladies.
He's gonna work your fingers if you let him.
No way. Him and I have an understanding. I won't let go and he won't bite me.
All is sunny for the invasive iguanas. But the forecast for the Everglades is anything but. The Everglades habitat is life-sustaining for the native plants and animals that live here. The most invasive species to threaten that balance is humans. Now, wildlife officials believe it's time to let us take care of one of the biggest invaders, the pythons.
Let's use humans to control these pythons. What better way than a hunter that is working his way through the woods, you know, and looking for rabbits or squirrels or whatever he's looking for, and he comes across a snake. He's already gonna have a gun in his hand, and he can dispatch that animal very rapidly. Or if he feels like it, he could catch the thing live. I mean, there's enough young guys that want to wrestle with the thing, take it, show it off. How about coming for a python hunt? Exciting, huh?
Yes, this is Michael Cole, one of the python hunters. Yeah, we're going to be doing a hunt tonight. Permits 1, 2, and 3. Greg Graziani, Sean Heflick, and Michael Cole.
Let's get a move on before we get wet.
Come on, Geek Squad, do it.
Whoa! Oh, there he is. One away.
Get my leg. Holding still.
Whoa!
Try to give me
Whoa!
This one doesn't look very good, huh? This guy's a little beat.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at the head damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is not in good shape.
He's got marks all over him. He's had a rough time.
Yeah.
Even the weakest python can still pack a punch.
Yeah, he's got good.
I got the head, and then it had just some debris up by its nose, and I went to clear it.
Yeah, go ahead and try that. I told you.
You gonna do it again?
Did you hear him scream?
I know you squeezed that animal's ass when I did that. I know Greg squeezed the tail. It's all good. I got something for him. You know, it all comes around. Not the prettiest snake in the world, but you know, they don't have to be pretty for us to capture him and get him out of this system.
Typical Sean. Can't deal with authority. I warn you to, yeah, go ahead and try that. Not 3 seconds. Bam! Ah!
I think the misconception is that you think I view you as an authority. I think therein lies the issue.
I think I've already proven you should.
No. Why, squeezing the snake's ass and getting me bit?
What if we learned about the Burmese?
We know that they have predators. We know that they're providing an extra food source. We also know that they're taking animals out of the ecosystem. What we don't know is where that balance lies.
Well, that's true. We need to get a lot more gut content because it seems that on these species that we have had reports of them eating, it's one here, one there. Most of the consistent stuff we're finding are, you know, rodents and rabbits.
It's a water moccasin or cottonmouth, one of 4 venomous snakes native to the Everglades.
Man, that's a stinky snake.
Yeah. He's already got a fang hanging out.
Oh, he's got venom just dropping. You see that?
Yep. He looks like he's grinning at us. White sheath hanging down over that fang is what you can see right there.
Get the name, Cottonmouth.
And it's humans that are most threatening to this native species. Every year, fearful people kill hundreds of these venomous animals.
Down along the head.
These give off the strongest musk of any Floridian snake.
Touched it.
Yeah. We definitely don't want to shorten our python hunting trip by getting nailed by one of these guys. Definitely, actually one of the things we have to be more careful of than the pythons.
Yeah.
Are pit vipers like this that we find out here.
It won't kill you, but it's painful.
The hunter's relationship with snakes is not based on fear, but respect. And as much as they admire and respect the Burmese python, the hunters know that like all invasive species, they don't belong in the Everglades. And their job won't be over for a long time to come.